So again, the children of Israel are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The sons and daughters of the slave trade are the children of Israel, God's chosen people. And God has sent forth his prophets in these last days to show his people who they are. Matter of fact, give me that. Give me Isaiah 30 and 20. Give me Isaiah 30 and 20. Because guess what? No longer are the days where you gotta go into a building and hear the word of God. The word of God is coming out here to you today.
Right.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 20. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity.
It said, though the Lord give you the bread of adversity, though you at the bottom of society, you dirt broken, messed up, you living paycheck to paycheck, you don't know where your next meal coming from, you don't know if you're going to be able to pay your light bill, read.
And the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thy eyes shall see thy teachers.
It says your eyes shall see your teachers. The prophets of God are back on the earth, and we are here to teach the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that they're not black, that they're not Hispanic, and they're not Native American, but they are the descendants of the true biblical Israelites.
That's right.
You are God's chosen people. How you doing, my brother? How you doing? You could be better? What's going on with you? I can't hear you. I'm gonna come a little closer. What you say? So you're struggling to try to get an apartment. So that's that water of affliction that we was just talking about. You understand? But guess what? God says you shouldn't even be in that condition. You are special. You are chosen. The Most High God is putting you through these things because of disobedience. I'm going to show you how we change these things. Give me Deuteronomy 28:15. We're going to get that first, and then I'm going to show you how we change the condition that we're in. How we pull ourselves out the mud, so to speak. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. For it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So it says all these curses would come upon us and overtake us if we didn't listen to God. Give me Baruch 3 and 8. I'm going to show you a couple of curses that we're dealing with right now that's actually prevalent to your situation. That is your situation, right this moment. I'm going to make the Bible real for you. Read.
Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments.
So we got to be subject to payments right here today in our captivity. Because this is what we were brought in captivity. We were brought from the west coast of Africa to the shores of the United States, to England, to South America, to all four corners of the earth. We was brought in captivity. And guess what? We are subject to payments. So a lot of our people get the conditions to where they can't make those payments, and now they got to go through these other different programs in order to be able to find a place to stay. When God says, wherever you lay your feet at should be your lane. Wherever you step on, that's supposed to be for you to dwell. When you in your righteousness, when you in your rulership. But we got to get back to that. So how do we get back to that state? How do we get back to that? Give me Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. How do we get back to where we ain't got to worry about light bill, we ain't got to worry about rent, we ain't got to worry about all these other payments? Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So it says if we kept the commandments, if we did what we're supposed to do, then God will set us on high above all nations of the earth. Now I see you right now, you got on the American flag as your face covering, right? But what has America done for you? You say you got to keep on working with them. Well, look, I'm going to show you something. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 48. I'm going to show you that you even being in a position to have to continue to work with them to get what you're supposed to have is a curse. Deuteronomy 28 and 48.
Deuteronomy 28, 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
So it says we got to serve our enemy in nakedness, and in thirst, and in want of all things. So for food, clothing, water, a place to stay, education, we got to serve our enemies. Who do we got to serve right now? Who, like, if you want something to eat, where you go to get something to eat? Who owns some restaurants like Burger King or something, stuff like that? What'd you say? God? The whole world is for God, but there's a specific race of people that own these businesses. So the white man owns that, right? What about water? It's about to rain right now. Can you collect that rainwater? It's about to fall like the sky? Why not? But if you set a bucket outside and collected that rainwater, is it legal for you to do that? Yeah. It is legal? You sure about that? It might be legal in Louisiana or in certain parishes, but I know, for example, in 48 states it's not legal to collect rainwater. You will go to jail and you will be fined between $5,000 and $10,000 for collecting rainwater. So it's not legal for you to collect water that falls from the sky. So if you want water, you got to go to your enemy. Who owns the water company? Like Sewage and Water Board, I know a lot of people work at Sewage and Water Board, but who actually run that? So God said we got to serve our enemy in the want of all things. The people you working with right now to get housing, who is that? So more than likely, they probably black ladies that's trying to help you out that work for that company, right? But the company that they work for, who owns that company? Who runs that? Or see that? So God said that's our enemy, and we got to serve him in the one of all things because of our disobedience. So if we keep God's commandments, He's gonna turn all that around. We ain't gotta jump through all these different hoops and go through all these different changes to get what was already promised to us by God. God promised us the earth. He said He's gonna give us the earth if we keep His commandments. But guess what? Because we wanted to be like other nations. That's why God put us in the position that we in. If you want to be like them, I'm gonna make you go and have to serve them in the one of all things. I'm not going to give you what I told you I was going to give you, but I'm going to make you go to them. And they're going to mistreat you, but you still got to go to them. They're going to abuse you, but you still got to go to them. They're going to kill you, but you still got to go to them because you didn't want to keep the commandments. You ain't going to listen. That's just like if you got children and your children don't listen to your house rules. Like, for instance, you know, when a son gets a certain age, the father be like, okay, so you starting to smell yourself, you starting to feel yourself. You think you grown. All right, go out there in the world and be grown. Because guess what? A hard head make a soft behind, right? That's the same thing God said. You don't want to listen to me? Go listen to these other nations and watch what happens to you. And then when you get messed up and you get broke in the street, you are homeless, you gotta go to them, that's when you gonna turn back to me. Hosea 5:15.
Bring it out.
Hosea 5:15. I'm gonna show you that God said that in the Bible. Everything we tell our children, God told us because we His children. Did you know God was a black man? God is a black man. He looked like you. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you that too. Watch. Read that.
Hosea chapter 5 verse 15. Don't thou Israel play the harlot.
Hosea 5:15.
Hosea chapter 5 verse 15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face in their affliction. They will seek me early.
So because we wanted to be hard here, God said, I'm going to go to my place until they acknowledge their offense. And in their affliction, they will seek me early. Like I say, if you have a child that think they grown and don't want to listen to your rules in the house, you tell them go out there in the world and be grown. And when they messed up and if they find themselves between a rock and a hard place and they come back to you and they apologize, that's when you let them back in. Because they acknowledge their offense, they acknowledge that they was wrong. I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm going to listen to what you told me. I thought I knew better, but I realized that you was telling me right. So now I want to come back. That's what God is telling us. He said, I'm going to go to my place until you acknowledge that you have done me wrong and you come back. When you're in your affliction, that's when you're going to come back. That's when you're going to realize what I was telling you was right. When you're getting shot down in the streets, when you living paycheck to paycheck, when you're struggling to keep your lights on, when you're struggling to pay your rent, that's when you're going to realize that what God was telling me to do, keep these commandments, was the right thing, and I need to go back, and I need to keep these commandments. When we was on the bottom of them slave ships, that's when we was going to realize, hey, we messed up. We should have listened to God. So that's what the Bible's talking about. The Bible is a conversation between God and his children. His children are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. God ain't comfort everybody.
Right.
He ain't the father of everybody. Yes, he created all races, but he said he was going to be your father and you were going to be his son.
That's right.
He said you are created in his image. I told you earlier, God looked just like you. Give me John 14 and 6. I'm going to show you what Jesus Christ said about how he looked and what he looked like, and then I'm going to show you the description of Jesus Christ. Because the description of Jesus Christ is the description of God. Watch this. Read that.
The book of John, chapter 14 and verse 6. Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth. Verse 8. Philip said unto him, Lord, show us the Father.
So Philip was one of the apostles that walked with Christ. He asked Christ, show us the Father. What does God look like? Read.
And it sufficient us. Jesus said unto him, have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He said, he that had seen me had seen the Father. And how sayest thou, show then us the Father?
So Jesus Christ said, if you seen me, you seen my daddy. You seen the Father. I look just like my daddy. So let's see what Jesus Christ looked like that was just like his daddy. Revelation 1 and 14. Because I said earlier that he looked just like you. So I'm going to give this description, and I'm going to ask you if you look like this description. 1 and 14.
Revelations 1 and 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
So my first question is, the hair on your head, is it woolly? Woolly hair is like afro hair. Is your hair white or gray, what we call it today? All right, so that's one.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
So, it said in his eyes was a flame of fire. Jesus Christ, the whites of his eyes turned red because he drank wine in moderation. Now, if you drink wine or beer or something, do your eyes turn red? Yeah, most of the time. So that's two, right? You got red eyes, your eyes turn red. You got white hair, he got white hair. And they said his feet was like fine brass. Do you know what color brass is? Brown. And they said it was brown like it burned in the furnace. That means he was dark skinned. So the description I just read of Jesus Christ, Does that not look like you? Brown skin, woolly hair. Right, you don't have the vote, you don't have beard and everything, or the big afro like Jesus Christ would have had, but you got woolly hair though, right? So, I always tell people when you're describing Christ in Revelation 1 and 14, I'm describing my grandfather.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.